Just
All right, guys, we're going to take a look at the Academy right here in Frisbee, July 16th through the 20th. Learn to play like the Radicals, from the Radicals. Here's how, by the way, this is how it's going to go at commercial breaks. Players. Learn more online at the Radicals Facebook page. You want to give you some kind of symbol for commercial breaks?
Hand signal is good. Any whatever. We did this at Nationals, like sponsor.
Okay. So I'll do this.
Time to make the money.
I'm going to count you down 10, or it might be 5. I'm going to do 5.
So this is
4, 3, 2, 1.
cut.
I'll probably do this. Cut. And then we can just, I'll probably turn your my audio off and we can just chat.
Okay.
I'll tell you. And then count you back in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Back, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so get those mics nice and close to your mouth.
how's that?
Just in your get a little saliva on it.
Right in there?
Like you're a rock singer. Like really get your lips on it.
Okay. Now take a look for at least at the start of this game. We're going to move you guys over. Keith, you're going to need to come towards me. We're going to move that clipboard off that back thing. It's weird.
Yeah, you can throw it on the floor. We don't need it.
You guys go ahead and take a look at where you are so you see yourself on the monitor. And then when I cut to you, I'm going to point to you like this. You just want to take a look at that camera while you're talking. Or talk to each other.
Let's use
Practice right now.
this for the break. This for going to replay. All right.
Okay, sure.
Let us know that we're going to replay.
So let's pretend like we're cutting to you guys. So we come back after the open, and let's just pretend like we're doing it now. So do your intros and everything, and I'll cut to you guys.
What's my intro? Set me up.
Yeah, I'll come in and I'll set the stage, and then I'll introduce us. I'm Keith Rayner, joined in the booth by Nate Volkman. And we've got okay. Welcome, Ultimate fans, to Ultiworld's coverage for AUDL Extra. We have the Minnesota. Minnesota is right. The Minnesota Wind Chill traveling to Breese Stevens to take on the Madison Radicals. I'm Keith Rayner, joined in the booth by Nate Volkman, and a key Midwest Division matchup about to take place here between these two bitter rivals.
Indeed, and welcome, Keith. Thank you so much, and welcome to Breese Stevens. It's going to be a very important game for the Central Division, and two teams coming off very different previous weeks' performances.
Yeah, Madison with an off week, but Minnesota with a big win over the surprise Indianapolis AlleyCats to really shake up the standings in this division.
Indeed, that was a critical win, and now they're just, I think, one win behind, but still same number of losses. A win here for the Minnesota Wind Chill against the Radicals would really upend the table.
Yeah, we're somehow all the way already into week 11, and with just 6 weeks left in the season, Charlie's already starting to freak out. He's got his water. It's seltzery. It's great.
Okay, good enough. Good.
Keith Rayner here, watching the Madison Radicals radical it up. It's very radical out there. There's particles flying.
Radical particles.
What's the source of that name? I guess I never really thought about it.
The Radicals, I think there was just a lot of community and citizen agitation, the history of Madison and Wisconsin in particular.
Well, I don't know if you knew, but there's actually a revolution that started in Madison. This is my first trip to Breese Stevens. I've heard nothing but amazing things about the atmosphere here, which is going to be vastly superior to what we've gotten in Atlanta, probably.
It is an army from a World War II time period, so it's got a lot of history.
Now you're being serious, though, right?
I am being serious. No, it was a military complex here. You go into the restrooms downstairs, they can take you there maybe. You can see how lovely it is, those cinder blocks and so forth.
That is not a common place to be we got to show you the beauty of the restrooms here at Breese Stevens.
Well, I think they're actually getting renovated, so you want to see the before and after. We're not to the after yet.
Not usually the tour site.
No. but it can lay testament to the oldness of the building. But how cool now these buildings coming up here, and there's concerts here. So actually the owner of the Mallards baseball team, AAA, whatever it is, they bought this place, and now they're managing it in kind of a much different way. They put the artificial turf down. They do other events.
If you need stats, by the way,
yeah, thank you.
This is just, I'm just going to have these two up.
Perfect.
So if you are getting ready to talk about somebody and you just want to back it up with some numbers, this is the direct from the website.
Perfect.
I think our red hat's on mute. I think he's with us though.
I don't remember what it shows you if you click on their name. Takes you to their player profile, shows okay, yeah, it gives you a rough rundown of their stats. Also, yeah, who they throw to, and what the results tend to be.
That's really cool. I have not seen that yet.
Catches.
Brilliant.
You can touch it firmer. There you go. Shrywise, Annan, Brown, Riggles, Pruis, Wilson, Lowe, Kanaki. We're going with Kanaki.
Kanaki.
Wiseman. Weigand? Kyle Wiegand.
Weigand.
Well, Kyle Weigand. Okay. I'll write that down.
What about this, though?
Which one?
Vanutka?
Yeah, Vanutka.
Okay. McCutcheon?
McCutcheon.
Pangburn. All right.
Pangburn.
Ladas.
Johnson. Leonard.
Ladas,
Eccles.
Really?
What? Yeah, Tom Eccles? Yeah, he is on the team.
I wonder if Ladas is the same Ladas that just was here last. I mean, I think maybe he's a student here. Was
Yeah,
was
he played
here?
at UW.
Oh, he's okay.
Yeah, Nick Lattis.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Played a bunch of indoor with him. Where do you
Michael
live?
Jordan. I'm from Atlanta,
Okay.
although I'm about to move to Connecticut, so I guess I won't be saying that for long. Kittleson, Sam Bumstead, Dylan DeClerc. Where's Dylan DeClerc from? Why is that name familiar? Why is his name familiar? Gotta
Is
be
he a
from
phenom?
college.
Is he a phenom name?
You know what? I think he played for like BU or something.
The way it's going to work, guys, is I'm going to count you in 5 seconds. The rest of you are cutting the breaks. So we're going to get to the under 8, let's say. The score's going to happen. And I'm going to say, all right, so that's, I'm going to say 5, 4, 3, break.
And we're coming in with the read.
3 minutes, guys. I can't tell if that's an empty roll jersey or a fake news jersey.
He played for Drake. Cole Allen is on the team. Maybe. That would make sense.
She's, I don't think married, but basically Tom Coolidge.
This sounds good.
Yeah.
I think I've always
Number 48.
thought it's odd that our anthem is really incredibly difficult to sing.
It is hard to sing.
It's hard
It's
to
a
sound
big
good.
range.
Singing it.
Yeah.
Why do we
Essentially
make
you have
it
to
so
start
hard?
as low as you can. because,
Everybody sings this song though. Like, why not make it really easy to sing? Own it.
No, I just muted him. I'm here.
So Ladas is which one?
Lattis is 22.
Oh, wait.
So he is. You see the short, dark hair?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot harder to tell who everybody is from the front.
It is.
Charlie, you're picking up a little of my breathing, right?
Picking up what?
Are you picking up breathing? Nasal breathing. I think a little bit. What if I lower it? Lower and put it closer. There we go. Yeah, that's good.
guess 1 minute for the 8 and the 4 and the quarter, but I realistically you only need to do the 8 and the 4. Okay, great. Guys, we're going to start here in 60 seconds, Chris. You good? All right, 60 seconds, guys. Will you count me in, Chris?
So what I'll do, we're going to come in. I'm going to do this like read. Then they're going to do the little intro package, and then we'll cut over to our jibber jabber. I feel like I might have to get out of this chair when the game starts.
Do we move over after this thing? Because after this is over,
Yeah,
just
we
get
can
back.
slide a little bit.
Or stand.
Yes. I would not be shocked if we end up standing. Wish I knew who the refs were.
Becky Ladon.
That one I know.
Okay.
I recognize this guy from...
That could be Adam Eisenberg or something like that. Rosenberg, maybe. Can't remember what his name is.
15 seconds. 15 seconds. 10. 9. 5.
The 5-2 wind chill invade nearby Madison. The prize, a victory over the 6-1 Radicals and a share of first place in the Midwest. Bree Stevens hosts a Week 11 showdown. It's AUDL Extra, presented by Ultiworld. Welcome to AUDL Extra, presented by Ultiworld. Coming to you live from Madison, Wisconsin at Bree Stevens. I'm Keith Rayner, joined in the booth by Nate Volkman, and we have an exciting and crucial matchup in the Midwest Division between two bitter rivals.
We do indeed. Hi, Keith, and welcome to Bree Stevens. And this is going to be a fantastic matchup between some teams that are very closely matched and right next to each other in the table today.
Yeah, the Windchill are coming off a big win over the Indianapolis AlleyCats, who have been a surprise team in the division, but those results have really shifted around the top of the standings, and with it already coming down to Week 11, playoffs are around the corner, and everybody's scrapping to get that top spot in the Midwest.
Minnesota is a great team, and they've had some great results of late. And Madison, of course, is the typical favorite, of course, in the Central Division, but they just had a very difficult loss to the Raleigh Flyers. This is a huge game for both of them.
First pull up, and Minnesota centers the disc. Getting started with a vertical stack. Disc in the hand of Charles Weinberg, and he goes ahead to Josh Klain.
Not a lot of deep cuts so far.
Working the width of the field. Windchill looking patient to start.
Needed off the line now. Double team to nobody. Is he going to get there? Oh, he picks it up.
Save and grab. Nicely played by Michael Jordan. And now the shot to the end zone for Ryan Osgar. And some contact on the play. No surprise to see the whistle come. But
legs got tangled, and the Radicals was second to get there. That was a good call.
Osgar, one of the players to watch on this Windchill team, a huge part of their offense, and we see that double team from the Radicals right away.
Radicals love to put the zone on right on the goal line. Not a lot of teams do that.
Klain guiding the offense from the backfield as they near the end zone.
Keith, no wind out there, I don't believe, right?
And really just a still day out here. So another foul on the mark.
Same zone, and look at this. They are forcing forward now. They're going to...
Easy one to get it started for Minnesota. Some contact, and into the end zone, Osgar to Sam Bumstead.
It's good patient work by the Windchill. Radicals made him throw a lot of discs, a lot of throws, but not a lot of wind out there. Some patient work on the offense. Should get it done. We can see here a pretty simple pass forward now. Again, the Cup was forcing forward, hoping for the downfield box defenders to guard that.
Always going to be one of the challenges of running zone in the small area of the red zone. Less room to cover, but all it takes is a tiny little window to get that goal. So Minnesota now with the 1-0 lead. Get our first look at the home team on offense. And the disc is going to be centered up to Andrew Brown, the veteran setter handler.
There goes Wiseman deep to Dave Wiseman. Pat Tryways with the throw.
And the bid comes up just short.
I think he touched that, Keith. I think he did get a couple fingers on that, I do believe.
And a quick turn from Madison gives Minnesota the first break chance of the game.
Oh, a deep cut right away.
Still with the vertical stack from the wind chill as they swing around to the sideline. Just going up the middle of Colin Berry.
Radicals were trying a bait and switch defense, keeping a guy deep.
Thomas Eccles gets the disc from Greg Cousins. Two guys who play college disc in the Southeast now here in the Midwest. All the way to the opposite sideline now. McCutcheon finds Barry up the sideline, and now Barry cross field with room and drops it right into the pocket of Brandon Mattis for a break.
That was a great throw. I don't even know if the cutter was quite aware that the throw had gone up when it did, but the throw was so perfect that was right in his stride.
Just nice recognition of space here by Barry.
Defender was a little bit of face guarding, caught unawares. Throw was perfect and did not give the defender a chance.
So quick strike here for Minnesota, who goes up 2-0.
Now, Keith, we got so Madison Radicals when their 0-1 line gets scored on, they bring an entire new crew out. We have a wholesale change. We have the O prime line out there now.
So the O prime line.
Not a lot of teams will do a wholesale change on for their first offensive squad. Oh,
Peter Graffey putting up a deep shot. Kyle Weigand in chase, and he climbs the ladder to get the opening score.
That was a great throw by Graffey. Great cut by Kyle as well.
And we're seeing an aggressive Radicals offense, and this time it pays off.
Important to get that point in, especially without a turnover. Get the D on the field now and see if they go with the zone or man coming up.
And a big play too. Weigand goes up, gets the disc, can get the crowd fired up, and sees the momentum really for the home team.
Yeah, that was a great catch. He's a great athlete. You put it up there where he can get it, he will come down with it.
So the Radicals back on defense with the rolling pull. Klain hustling to retrieve it.
That roller goes out of bounds, bringing it in quickly. So the double team couldn't be set.
Tony Paletto in the backfield with Klain.
We got a man defense, some switching man defense. Looks like a vertical stack by the wind chill. Guys taking turns making their cuts in.
Winchell looking very disciplined on offense. It's Osgar's cross-field throw.
He ran that down well.
They've really worked sideline to sideline, although the Radicals are trying to find a way to use this double team to...
The guy deep now, it's wide open.
They don't find him, however. As Osgar gets the disc in the middle of the field.
All right, Radicals short up their defensive switches there. A lot of throws there. They're pushing him under.
Tough to tell who's really getting the edge there. Minnesota seems very comfortable.
Well, that's got to be a stall.
Stall called there. No foul call. There's definitely some disappointment from Minnesota that they didn't get the foul call trying to make the upline cut, but disc is going to be Madison's first chance for a break. Thomas Coolidge holding in the middle of the field with a backhand force.
Not a lot of cuts downfield. Looks like they're going to have to Oh, and there is the deep cut there. Looks like the throw is good.
And the throw drops right in.
That's a great throw by J-Dub. Great cut by Seth Myers. Father of 3 recently with twins. Congratulations, Daddy.
That ties it up at 2-2. Welcome back to Madison, where the Radicals have just tied it up with their first break of the game, 2-2, and the pull is going up from Peter Graffi.
That's 1 break apiece, as you said, tied it at 2. Radicals got that break right back. See if they can get another.
Paletto getting the disc into the hands of Barry, and he finds Ben Feldman. Crossfield throw again, finding a wide open receiver. The Winchell have done a nice job going sideline to sideline, which is important when you're running this vertical stack and you're trying to attack those wide spaces.
Agreed. They do a good job of getting their cutters to have some isolation space to work with. Now we're at another sideline here, and here we go again, all the way across. Moves the defense around and gives the offense a lot more angle.
Now applying some pressure, but Feldman finds a little bit of room, but miscommunication with his receiver. And what should have been an easy block for Chase Marty does turn into a turnover, but just a miscommunication by the Winchell.
That throw was thrown into a Chase Marty poach who had about 10 seconds to wait for it to come down and get that D.
So the Radicals will try and add a second straight break, take their first lead of the game. Sterling Kanaki. Now Pettit Scantling looking deep. Graffi in a jump ball situation, sizes it up and goes up. And that is a third straight Radical score to take a 3-2 lead.
And that's another break. And that's a great up by Peter Graffi. He looked in control the entire time. Went up really early. And we can see right here, defender is still looking for the disc. Peter's tracking it the whole way. Got his timing perfect. Easy continue for the score.
Absolutely. Graffi earning the advantage early with the timing of his cut, and then does a great job maintaining it. The defender never able to recapture that edge that Graffi held. But, I mean, this is why he has a reputation as one of the best players in the league.
He's a phenomenal athlete, both sides of the disc, handling, cutting. He's got everything. The key is, with Peter Graffi, is does he bring it every game and every point? And that's something that all great athletes struggle with.
He's a player selected for the AUDL All-Defense team in 2017, and you can see what a big impact he has on both sides of the disc.
Absolutely.
Winchell looking for a response after giving up a trio of goals. Up the line. Eccles takes the disc and deals with the double team. Winchell looking prepared for the double team strategy.
Their handlers are moving it well, and they are, as you can see here again, getting it from sideline to sideline, breaking the double teams. The defense is good. A lot of throws have to be thrown here. The defense is pushing them under.
Eccles with the around break. Klain goes and gets it and immediately goes to the end zone for the toe-in, but it's incomplete. Klane's throw just a little bit too wide.
Looks like that was too wide to actually catch inbounds. But as you can see, that the handler movement was good, and they're giving themselves some openings with that handler movement.
Timeout on the field. Hey, Radicals fans.
So we're going to get our first timeout of the game.
Saturday, June 9th. That's tomorrow. The Radicals travel to the Chicago Chicago.
It's an important timeout here, too. This will be the third break in a row.
Game is at
We're going to get the 0-1 on the field here.
Loves Park, Illinois, just outside Rock.
Now, Nate, these two teams have played once prior in this season, obviously a lot of times over the past few years in the AUDL, and Minnesota hasn't found a lot of success against Madison, including earlier in the year.
The games are always very close, and they are a powerhouse team. They've got a lot of great talent year in and year out, and the games are always close. I think we pulled out a 1-point advantage last time up in Minnesota, but they're always a tough game, and they're always fighting for playoff spots and obviously to take our Central Division title away.
Madison has been dominant in the division, and this is one of I think the toughest years they've had in holding that on to that crown. A lot of people expected to see a challenge from Chicago, who Madison will take on tomorrow. They'll actually be playing in a showcase game at the High School National Invite in Rockford, Illinois.
That's going to be an exciting game as well, but you bring up a good point here. This is a critical game for the Radicals tonight, and they have another game tomorrow, and the roster is going to be, I believe, possibly even one short. So a tough weekend for the Radicals, and they do need to come away with victories in both.
Play back underway here, and Tom Annan gets the reset. Now a high floaty throw and easily intercepted by Barry. So the substitution does not pay off yet for the Radicals. And an error on the goal line. That is a mistake from Tony Paletto. So a few turnovers here.
Winchell defense is putting a lot of pressure on the Radicals.
Colin Camp.
Now we've got some space spread in the field. Wiseman's going to throw it deep to Camp here, perhaps. Nope.
Chris Weiland centering it back to Wiseman.
Now this patient work by the Radicals, getting into their end zone offense. Really good pressure by the Winchell D.
Backhand force from Winchell. We've seen quite a bit of that to start this game.
It's a good little inside break by Andrew Brown.
Camp resetting as Madison nears the red zone.
Not a lot of cuts now out of the Radicals.
Stagnant downfield, so the handler's just forced to keep resetting the count. Camp pleading with his teammates to get open, but now doing the work himself.
Camp really took that point by the scruff of its neck.
Excellent job by Madison. They take a 4-2 lead. Welcome back to AUDL Extra, presented by Ultiworld. Getting ready for another Madison D point. They've strung together 4 in a row in what has become a beautiful evening here in Madison. About 70 degrees. Nice and light outside. little win, so grade 9 for some ultimate.
Winchell again in their vertical stack, stacking in the center of the field, keeping the sidelines open.
Josh Klein and Paletto still taking the bulk of the touches for the Winchell in the backfield. Now finally getting some momentum and a wide open target. Can he chase it down before he runs out of room? Yes, he does. Nicely done by Jordan. And they end the run and now trail just 4-3.
That was an important point by the Winchell. And here we can see the replay. Disc goes up. The defense knows they can't get it. The only question is, can they keep it in bounds? And he sure can. Michael Jordan, again with a great play. Important hold now for the Winchell there, getting their defense back on the field, see if they can pressure the Radicals, who have their 0-1 on the field as well. Thought we might see a little bit of rain out there, but it's we can see some sun rays peeking through.
Well, we got some rain earlier in the day and in the area, and now it's just turned into a lovely evening. Certainly a nice conditions for my first trip to Bree Stevens.
And the crowd coming fashionably late as always.
That
a little bit high for Weil in there. He got his hand on it, but he could not bring it down. First throw turnover here.
And the Madison offense struggling a little bit on their offensive points.
Again, a vertical stack here.
Grayson Pangburn up to Feldman.
A lot of short throws here down the line. See if they can actually get it off the line now. Lottis with the disc.
Lottis with the crossfield throw,
Gets
and
a
now
nice
here's Feldman.
Forehand inside out there. Not quite in yet.
Red zone possession now. Feldman. The around break to Lottis, and the Wisconsin Hodag connection for the goal.
By the way, around Chris Weiland, another Hodag himself. Got 3 Hodags in that play.
Probably don't feel like teammates right about now as Minnesota breaks to tie the game back at 4-4.
Well, and that is a great throw. A good around backhand break like that. Very tough to defend for the marker. And, of course, once that gets out, the downfield defenders really would struggle to get that D.
Feldman adding his 11th assist of the season. Veteran presence on this Minnesota team.
Yeah, and he knows that that break throw just takes all the downfield defenders right out of that play.
So the Winchell defense back out on the line, and
a nice break by the Winchell. Here we're back on serve.
Again, it looks like we'll see some personnel changes for Madison. They don't seem to want to run the same group of guys out there.
No, this is O Prime here again, which looks suspiciously like the first D line.
KPS underneath.
A little air bounce in that backhand, floating high.
But high is just how Peter Graffey likes it. Snags that one, and he continues to put on an impressive performance to start this game.
When you got a guy in your team like Peter Graffey, you just have to get it up in the air. Just give him a chance. And throw not just barely getting into the end zone.
Graffey just holding position on that front cone, fighting off the defender and coming down with it. And, I mean, he gave Weigand a chance to make a sky earlier in the game, and I guess Weigand just wanted to repay him.
Indeed, and oh, look, by the way, look at the same guys on the field now. We got our D1 line, maybe a couple of changes, but looks a lot like O Prime. Those D guys are getting it done on both sides of the disc right about now.
So in your experience, Nate, do you feel like this Madison team, using these 3 to 4 different groups of lines, do you feel like they use more of the full roster than some of the other teams in the league?
You know, I think, and not knowing exactly how the other teams do it, we do put a couple different lines together. We do use everybody in the roster multiple times often, and it seems to be the best way to really get the entire group of guys involved. We've got a lot of talent everywhere, and really the question is, how do you get everyone involved in doing their part? And I think the coach Tim DeBile has figured out a way with this line structure.
Even digging deeper into the roster, DeBile having to work without some of his consistent veterans, and there's some inconsistent play for this Madison O-line, and an easy break for Madison as Minnesota gives them the disc, and Madison makes them pay to take a 6-4 lead.
There are different kinds of turnovers that the offensive team can make. We all know that. But a handler backfield turnover 10 yards from the goal line, one of the worst. You can see very quick Radicals counterattack. It's a 3-on-2. They make quick work of it. It's a very tough turnover to recover from. This is a big point now for the wind chill.
So a game of runs so far. No one has scored just once and given one back on the next point. Everybody getting them in bunches.
Indeed. 51 seconds left in the quarter. It's important for the wind chill to really take the shot without much time left in the quarter if they can work that strategically so.
The ominous end of quarter situation coming up. Each team will have to change their strategy a little bit.
We see a zone here by the Radicals making them throw a lot of throws. It's going to take a lot of time off the clock.
Throwing a lot of throws has been kind of the wind chill MO so far.
Indeed.
But going to have to get some yardage, because right now they're not doing their full-length swinging that was so effective for them, although we see Barry get it.
I think they're looking for a hammer or two, but downfield defense is sort of taking that away.
Just over 20 seconds remaining in this quarter.
Going to push them backwards again now.
Minnesota would love to bring this lead within one, but they're running out of time, although now gaining some yardage. They're within throwing distance. Just 5 seconds remaining.
He's going to have to put it up here now. Floats it up high. See if Seth can do this.
And he knocks it away. A patient possession, but nothing at the end of it for Minnesota, but a Madison block.
Great D by Seth Meyer. Great team defense by the Radicals.
So that's going to make it 6-4, and we'll take a quick break. We'll be back for the second. Welcome back to AUDL Extra, presented by UltiWorld here in Madison, Wisconsin. Just finished up a first quarter. Madison holding a 6-4 edge over Minnesota, and potentially can continue to hold on to first place in the Midwest with a victory.
It was kind of an up and down first quarter. A lot more defensive scores than offensive scores. So I think both teams really do need to start being more efficient with the disc on offense. But you can see there's a lot of defensive pressure out there, and that makes perfect sense. It's a big game for both teams, and they're both going to be chomping at the bit for those break marks.
Absolutely, and it seems like Minnesota started off with a very patient offense. They were happy to work the disc, weren't taking a lot of aggressive shots, but then their execution in the backfield really started to fail them, and that's turned the tide in favor of Madison.
You know, that's what throwing a lot of throws as a defensive team, that's what they're really going for is you know, you have to stay focused, and it is difficult to continue to make those completions. That being said, those were pretty easy catches and throws that they have missed. This is a focus issue. There's a lot of pressure now. I would think more pressure on the Radicals, but looks like the wind chill are feeling some pressure as well.
Tony Paletto and Josh Klein taking on the heavy throwing load for the Minnesota offense. They lead the team in touches this season, but they're without the third wheel in that equation, which is Jason Cheetah. Unable to compete in this game, and there's a couple players on both sides missing. Andrew Mechanix, Nate Bosher for Madison, big names. But plenty of star power between the two teams left here to fight it out.
There is a lot of talent on both rosters. Indeed, there are some big names missing from both sides, but it's going to be a very competitive game here, and second quarter begins.
So the pull is up, and Madison will take the centering pass. Brown now in the middle of the field with the horizontal stack. Madison facing this backhand force that Minnesota's been happy to use to start.
There's a deep shot by Wiseman to Pat Shrywise.
Shrywise has the size advantage, but well fought off by the defender.
You know, that's actually a great defensive play. I think Pat would have liked to have taken a couple of steps to the right, but that defensive guy already had that space. Here comes an immediate deep throw now. See if Wriggles, one of the fastest guys on the team, can get there. And
Hanging.
the tallest. Oh, and Wiseman comes and helps out and makes the play instead.
You want to talk about tallest?
I think Wiseman's only 6'4". Wriggles is 6'7". But to a 5'10" guy, that's tall either way.
So now Madison quickly rushing back to the red zone, looking to get that goal, and Wiseman gets the bookends.
It's now 2 points now where the 0-1 line for the Radicals has turned it over but got it back and put it in for the hold.
So Wiseman with the sky on defense and then comes around to get the goal on the other end after throwing the turnover. So really, you got a little bit of everything.
And here we can see Wiseman with a little bit of a better angle coming in on the run and just cleans it all out. Gets the D over both of his teammate and the opposition.
Well, with Wriggles and Wiseman coming on, I think Barry was giving up about 12 inches total. No surprise he could have come away with that.
No, not with a hang and throw like that. All right, an important here point for the windshield here. They really don't want to go down here by another break.
Windshield trailing now, 7-4, their largest deficit.
I do think the Windshield need to keep it within 3, possibly 4. That's another turn here.
And finally, that sideline pressure works out. So now a break opportunity as Pettit Scanlon comes over to Lowe.
They're trapped on the line, but Lou is a lefty. He's going to get it out of there. Still on the line, though.
KPS. A short upline throw, turfs that one. So the disc back to Minnesota, and Paletto picks up.
Oh, and he fires it deep right away. Oh,
and a layout grab, trailing edge.
Just inches away, probably less. It was a great bid. KPS is lucky after turning over that disc. He did not get back on D. His player took off without him. Could not bring down the disc.
Minnesota was working the unders in the first quarter, and now they've taken a couple of deep shots, and neither has gone their way. Double team.
Got a couple of guys deep, but good double team kind of kept it. I want a floating hammer.
Pruis's high hammer is unreachable for his cutter. And the double team working for both squads now.
Ooh, here comes another deep shot, but it's low.
And this one works out. What probably should have been a third Huck turnover is going to turn into a hold. Michael Jordan tracks that down.
That is unlucky on the D. He was there. He made the play, but it's one of the reasons why you want to try to catch your defensive plays in case you pop it up. We could see here by the replay.
Yeah, Weinberg just brings that one in and then puts it out in front of Jordan. Goes and gets it. Jordan gets his second goal of the game.
And as we mentioned, an important hold here for the Windshield, keeping it within 2 as opposed to going down 4. It's kind of a longer point as well.
That is the first time the team that has scored has not gone on to score at least 2 goals in a row in the game. Minnesota actually, if you recall, it feels like a long time ago, jumped out to an early lead with a 2-0 run, including a break, before conceding 4 straight. But now they're within 2. It's 7-5 with about 9 minutes remaining in the first half. Double team off the pole, but the Scuba to Camp frees up the Radical offense. Uncontested throw up ahead to Nelson.
Oh, nice Scuba.
Bending right into his receiver's hand. So Brown in the middle, and now over to Weiland on the backhand side.
Oh, nice little invert there, inside out to Wiseman, who, without even the cutter looking.
Wiseman just not on the same page as his cutter. Throws it out to the back corner, expecting him to turn to that cone. But
You know, I like that throw. I think that maybe if you just could have bent that back inbounds a little bit more. But a bit of a miscommunication gives the Winchell a chance to break, and here's a deep shot, but we got 6-7 Wriggles underneath it.
And Barry wins this one and takes the timeout. Barry maybe heard me say last time that he couldn't get it when giving up the height, and this time he climbs the ladder.
And he is fired up about that, rightly so. What a great catch.
And I maybe this was something they talked about in the huddle between the quarters, but the Winchell have come out hot. They are firing the disc deep, and this time you can see why they might want to take that option.
Well, the throw again a bit floaty, but somehow Wriggles does not come down with it or make that defensive play. We were looking at, for one moment ago, almost going 8-4, Radicals up, but now we're looking at potentially going to 7-6 if they can put it in.
Wriggles frustrated as both teams make their subs.
Looks like looks like the Winchell's got their 0-1 line in there with the Radicals' D1 line as well. See if they put that zone on. It's close enough to the goal line. Maybe they will put that zone on right away. Let's see if they do that.
Based on what we've seen so far from the Radicals, it feels like a double team is coming on soon.
They could line up in man-ish and then perhaps make the switch.
Honest vertical stack. A lot of space here to one side, and looks like kind of a clam around the stack downfield. Just players positioned in various positions from the vertical stack.
That's right. Sort of a standard vertical offense defense, really, then. A little switching on D if they can handle it. Some handler movement.
Paletto tries to squeeze one through and does.
I think catching both defender and offender unawares for just a moment, but the throw was perfect.
So a perfect throw, and now Minnesota within 1, 7-6. We'll be right back. Welcome back to AUDL Extra, presented by Ultiworld. Madison holding on to a 7-6 lead, having just given up a break to Minnesota. About 7:50 left in the first half, and we've got a tight one that's been really back and forth.
Indeed, I think for the fans out there, keeping this game close is I think good for everybody. But I think the Radicals think they should probably be up by a few more points now. Winchell are keeping it close. Oh, and we have a turnover here now.
That error is not going to help.
That's a simple drop. And the Winchell just have about half the field to work with.
Kyle Weigand with the drop and then gets beat up the line by Feldman, but Feldman's throw pops into the air, retrieved by his target.
That throw was so short, even the defender couldn't get it because They were too far and forward. Oh, and that's the break.
And another break for Minnesota. We're back to even. It's 7-all with 7 minutes and 11 seconds remaining.
Wow, just a few points ago, it was time for some deep soul searching from the wind chill. We now have that situation. The momentum has flipped completely. And now the Radicals are in desperate need here of a point. As I was saying, that throw was so short, it caught the defender so unawares that he stumbled and couldn't get the D.
Well, sometimes if you're the defender and you're not looking back at the disc or your momentum is carrying you one way, it's the offender who's always going to have the advantage of being able to react first.
Indeed, right. When that throw is not quite what the offensive player expects, right, they can make that change right away, and that's what happened.
So 2 straight possessions that the Minnesota defense has been able to score in just one try. Madison not getting a lot of breathing room from Minnesota when they make a mistake as Colin Camp comes under from the isolation. Not a lot of yardage or momentum gained, and there.
Oh, wow.
That deflected pass is caught again by Weiland. And now the double team. Weiland and Camp. 2 of the many Wisconsin Hodag alums across these 2 teams. Wiseman underneath. Ben Nelson up ahead to Avery Johnson, and into the red zone Madison goes, and into the end zone they go for a much-needed hold. They take the lead.
Well, they looked a little bit shell-shocked to start that point. We're lucky, I think, to not have that disc get turned over with Weiland catching that deflection. But after that, though, they started to run with some good flow and really just put it in without much difficulty.
Breaks evening out there as far as a little bit of luck, a little bit of puck luck they call it in hockey, and both teams have had a couple of bouncy discs coming their way.
That's right.
And with the easy finish to the front cone for Andrew Brown, Anna gets his first assist of the game. So an 8-7 lead for Madison as they pull with 6 minutes left. 6 and change. Poletto takes the centering pass and pump fakes the ISO and takes the reset.
Looks like we have a bit of a host stack here from the wind chill. I don't think I've seen that yet today. Trying to mix up the offense.
Maybe trying to open up some room deep, and a huge block from Pettit Scantling. KPS doing what he's known for with a huge, huge play in the backfield. KPS takes the reset. Logan Pruis. And a whistle for some play downfield.
Back to KPS's D, though. That was a combination of the marker taking away that backhand around, leaving open only that flick inside out, and KPS was ready for that. That was really both a marker and a downfield defender. Really a good coordinated play there.
Now KPS trying to coordinate a score, and it's going to be knocked away by Barry.
That seemed a bit of a throw and hope on that one there. Too crowded for Graffy to pull it down.
And another just incredible defensive play from KPS.
Maybe upset about that throw. Gets it right back.
Who cares what kind of shots you take if you can get blocks like that?
Maybe he just wanted to show off his hand block, his diving hand block.
I mean, not a lot of people have that in the bag.
I think the manager would prefer that to go in straight away, but it sure got the crowd fired up.
So we're coming out after a timeout. Both teams getting the correct personnel on the field as Madison's hoping to punch in a break and take a 2-goal advantage. Let's take another look at this KPS block.
Block number 1.
And like a great white rising out of the water to gobble up a seal, KPS comes flying onto the screen and into the backfield to force a turnover. And here's the second block.
He sees the back-end break coming, and he says, no siree. All right, 0-1 back on the field here for the Radicals. Andrew Brown picking up the disc.
KPS now third on the Radicals with 13 blocks on the season. And the Radicals get it to the middle of the field as play reinitiates. That one nearly knocked away, but Trywise comes up with it.
Some nice defensive pressure.
And the low break to Weiland, and Weiland gives it away.
Looks like that hit them right in his hands there.
Couple of drops from Madison, and we'll see if Minnesota can make them pay. And given right back.
Another simple drop here, Keith.
Execution errors plaguing both teams. Camp up the line, and now Wriggles just outside the end zone. Double team.
Nice scoober. Get out of that double team. Andrew Brown with all the time in the world.
Under 4 minutes remaining in the second half. Reset again for Shrywise. And Shrywise, just the errors coming in bunches for these teams.
That's the third drop with no defensive pressure, hitting them right in their hands.
Shrywise just looking upfield before he caught that one. Classic fundamental error, even from the veteran. So if you're at home and you're feel bad sometimes when you do that, even some of the best make that kind of mistake. Stall count climbing.
A timeout before the stall. Looks like it.
So our second timeout of the point, I believe.
Yeah, let's take the timeout. Let's take the timeout here.
And so with an 8-7 lead and a timeout, we're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back for more of the first half. Welcome back to AUDL Extra, presented by Ultiworld. Madison, Wisconsin, and Bree Stevens playing host to this matchup between Minnesota and Madison. Madison with a 1-goal lead with about 3:10 left in the first half. And this point feels, as each successive turnover happens, this point takes on greater and greater weight, Nate.
It really does. It's been a low-scoring second quarter. A lot of mistakes, some focus errors, some great defense as well. Each point is indeed very important, and this would be a key hold here for the wind chill. They've got their offense back on the field with a zone here from the Radicals.
Madison's handlers swinging it around, going sideline to sideline. Quick succession.
Nobody downfield for the wind chill to give a potential hammer opportunity. Everyone's pushed pretty shallow. Now we've got some spreading out here.
Klein.
You've got 5 wind chill players, all within about 10 yards of the disc here.
And finally, Minnesota is able to open up the field a little bit with Paletto's backhand up the sideline.
The zone recovers. And it's slow going getting up the field here.
Which team will crack first? Will the defense give up a hole, or will Minnesota yield possession? Paletto bringing it in on the right third, but disc is flying in and out of the wind chill's hands. Nothing chill about it.
Now they've got some continuation. See if that zone recovers again. They have crossed now the halfway line.
Bumstead,
Or
contested catch. Weinberg resets.
seeing as you get closer to the end zone line, the space actually reduces. So it should be even tighter.
Now Osgar with it in the red zone, and contact on the mark is going to gain the wind chill a few yards, and also the center of the field. And Osgar with the quick dish around the double team for the goal, and a hard-fought one for Minnesota that ties it up at 8-8.
It was good patient work by the wind chill. No hammers necessary. Just patient, quick handler movement. With then some strikes to the sideline. And a very easy punch in. Even with the zone pushing into the backfield, he still was able to get it into the upfield and score that point. And we have ourselves a tie game, 8-8.
We do. 8-8, and the 8th goal for Minnesota scored by number 8, Weinberg. Charles Weinberg now with 22 goals on the season. It's the second leading scorer on this Minnesota team as the poll goes up for the wind chill defense. Brown takes the centering pass. Here's that horizontal stack. Again, looking for Camp to initiate, but it's Riggles and Camp who start working it down the field, and now Camp looking to the end zone. Avery Johnson trying to hold off Barry, and excellent positioning there from Johnson. Barry goes up early. Johnson gets the goal.
Oh my gosh. He fakes going up for it, doesn't even jump for it. Somehow manages to stay in. Like to see that again, Keith.
Well, again, we talked earlier about the advantage that the offense has getting to make the first move. And here, Johnson knows where the disc is, and the defender's playing him.
That's a great box out with just inches to spare.
I don't know if Johnson was intending to fake or if he just thought, I got to go up for this, and then thought better of it. But whichever it was, he probably will never tell, and it was certainly effective.
You know, as a receiver myself, sometimes you just start to kind of feel like you're going to go up, and then you realize it's too high for yourself, and the defense doesn't know. The defense is playing your movements, not the disc.
Nate, you were a player on this Radicals team from 2013 to 2016. Probably had your share of fancy goals in the back of the end zone.
Well, maybe not so much with the Radicals days, maybe one or two, but I was mostly in the backfield. But my goal-scoring days were previous decades, in fact.
So now Minnesota trying to respond with a hold, and Klane's going to look deep, has a target, and it just a perfect throw from Josh Klane.
Now we've got 2 quick offensive points in a row, each one going about 25 seconds. Keith, that's finally some efficiency out of the offensive teams for both sides. But I think Radicals are going to want to take their time on this one, play out the clock, and get one final score.
We've seen a little bit of the good, the bad, and the ugly from both sides, and chalk this one up in the good category. Klane lasering the forehand that just sits for his cutter.
That throw has to be perfect, and it was. Not a lot of room for error on that throw. That was coming in pretty hot, but right on the money. And you could tell they were fired up about it, rightly so.
Josh Klane's built a reputation not only for his great throws, but he's not a bashful guy either. And with that kind of confidence, it's easy for him to put a throw up like that. But when you got the skill to back it up.
Oh, you don't think twice about it. You fire it in there, and you're in the zone, and it makes it look easy.
Peter Graffi taking the initiating throw, and
Oh, no.
just the receiver waiting for the disc. Fundamental error by Avery Johnson, and now Madison's going to try and go the other way with it. Floaty throw.
Oh.
Wriggles knocks it away, and it looks like this quarter is going to expire. Graffi puts one up.
Don't think it's going to get there.
It's hanging, and it's going to come up just short.
Well, Keith, both teams had a chance to put that disc in at the end of the half. Nobody ends up doing it. 9-9 to end the half here.
So all even, despite both teams going on runs in this half. Looks like it's going to come down to who can execute better in the second half in this Midwest battle. Crucial division game. It's 9-9. We'll be back for the second half with you in just a little bit. Welcome back to AUDL Extra, presented by UltiWorld. Keith Rayner joined in the booth by Nate Volkman. As we are in the halftime here between Madison and Minnesota, it's 9-9, and after a first quarter where defenses were taking advantage of offensive miscues, those miscues really piled up in the second quarter. Nate, you've obviously had a lot of experience on the field. Even for players this good, how do these kind of errors crop up, and how do you deal with them?
You know, the defensive pressure just continues to chip away, and I think that's what we're seeing out there. These are turnovers that are unforced. These are turnovers that are not difficult catches, but they're happening because the defense doesn't give you a moment to breathe.
Now, I'm a big proponent of what I call the myth of the unforced error. A lot of defensive pressure that does create mistakes. A lot of mistakes come because someone's breathing down your neck, because the windows are small, because you're trying to make a difficult play because something else wasn't open. But some of these are very avoidable mistakes. Wide open drops, reset mistakes, miscommunications. I'll be curious to see which one of these teams can tighten that execution up in the second half and perhaps pull away in this really critical game.
This is a critical game, and especially when the scoring is not coming easily. It's a low-scoring game. Every goal really does matter. Every break matters even more. It's not that windy out. So we'll see if the offense can become a little more efficient, but we didn't see a lot of that in the first or the second quarter yet today.
A lot of the big plays in this game have come on defense, but a lot of the big plays from Week 10 in the AUDL came on both sides of the disc. So let's take a look at some of the top 10 plays from Week 10 in the AUDL.
On the swing, but no, he pops it right through, and there it is! They read it! Laviolette can see him from a mile away, dishes it deep to Bray. Minch is also running it down. I think it's to Minch, baby. It's Minch. A huge play.
Deep shot from Carpenter was a beauty. Picture perfect to Samson for the AlleyCats score.
Watch the way he shapes this throw as he releases.
Deep shot, looking to the end zone. High up in the air goes Gross. His leaping ability on display as the AlleyCats strike quickly.
Spinks with a nice cut, looked off, but he's going to continue it. And then another incredible layout from defense.
Rose, what a bid! He's in the end zone for the AlleyCats. A Superman score for Rick Rose to get his team within one.
Nice long one, but Rude unbelievably break back and trying to get out of the end zone right now. Nice long one, but Rude unbelievable.
Carpenter launching, Jacobs going. In the end zone, what a play by Jordan Taylor. Rising up for the wind chill defense and denying the Indy score.
I think this is Wallen's first game.
Weiland?
Wallen on Minnesota. I'm really proud of myself for only saying the wrong team name once. Welcome back to AUDL Extra, presented by Ultiworld. Keith Renner here in the booth live with Nate Volkman, coming to you live from Madison, Wisconsin, getting ready for the second half in what is a tie game, 9-9. Host Madison facing down Minnesota, who's going to receive to start the second half.
Well, Madison took the first quarter 6-4, but Minnesota came back with a 5-2 second quarter.
So now Minnesota with a chance to start the second half with a hold. That's how they started the first half. And underneath to Ryan Osgar.
Looks like another vertical stack for the wind chill.
A lot of familiar stuff, and people who are fans of Chris Weiland are familiar with him getting a block, but a strip call, so whistles are going to blow, and I think there's an injury. KPS trotting off. Not what you want to see if you're a Radicals fan.
For a moment, I thought that was a good D by Weiland, but it was just a little bit too close. And strip was called.
So Jordan initiating play with the double team on. Finds Paletto to get out of it. Sharp inside break and into the red zone, the wind chill go. Cole Wallen.
Right where the wind chill want this disc, right in the center of the field here. All the options. In their end zone offense here.
Osgar with a little high release break to Bumstead, and he throws the inside break continue. Jordan gets the goal and the kick spike to take a 10-9 lead.
That's a classic offense by the windshield. A couple handlers outside. A nice middle stack with some cuts coming out of the back for those scoring catch there.
Take another look as we see some patient red zone offense pay off.
Nice inside out throw, forehand there.
You're just stepping into that inside lane to throw the forehand, but with a little bit of OI edge on it, so it pushes back out to your receiver. If you've got the breathing room to do it, it can be an effective way to quickly get a throw into the break side.
Indeed, you don't even, as you said, it could be a little bit OI if that thrower or the cutter is open enough and the space is there.
So now Madison attempting to respond. Ben Nelson in the middle. Brown.
Radicals working hard to get open here. Looks like Graffy's also moved to the 0-1 line here as well.
Graffy's seen a lot of time on offense for a guy known for his defense, but he's a two-way player.
Again, he's looking to go every other here, see if he can get it back. He's going deep now.
Shrywise holding. Little air bounce backhand over to Graffy, throws the dish, and the throw ahead, and Rickles uses that length to bring it in just in front of the end zone, and then tosses it in for the score.
Lovely lefty inside-out flick there. Defense was face guarding. I think Tom Anna wanted to give Rickles a little more space than he did, but Rickles came down with it anyway. Another hold here. Keith, we've got 2 holds here in a row.
Oh my gosh! Don't look now, Nate. But we've got some clean offense.
Maybe I jinxed it. We'll see.
Well, it's at this point it's the clean offense that's come in bouts. It's not like these teams can't execute. We've certainly seen it as we did on that point. We've seen runs of either team playing with consistency and pace, but
you know sometimes it is perhaps first quarter, if not the second quarter, a couple of jitters are in there. Some nervous energy perhaps, but so far I think we'll maybe see a little more of a calm and better executed second half, at least we have so far here.
Low scoring game in the first half, 18 points between them. Meanwhile, Montreal and Ottawa are playing, and they're in the 30s in their point totals. So maybe we'll see some fireworks in this second half. High stall situation. Now Bumstead trapped on the sideline. Fights to get it off. And Osgar is in the middle to take it.
Some good handler movement. Getting some separation. Now they're stuck on the line, though. Still stuck on that line.
Using that small space to their advantage, and Klain goes ahead to Wallen for the goal.
A well-executed play without a lot of room to work with. That's why a lot of teams do like to get it back in the center of the disc, so they've got a lot more options, but the Windchill pulled it off. Another hold here. That's 3 in a row. 2 for the Windchill.
Cole Wallen just coming off the college season with Minnesota Grey Duck, helping them go to nationals, although I think their season was a bit disappointing on the whole. Wallen, however, has really broken out as a top player in the college division and making his debut, I believe, with Minnesota, and doing so quite nicely. Has piled up an assist and 2 goals already, and is clearly taking on a big role in the offense. Lots of Grey Duck alums on this Windchill roster. Certainly Grey Duck very familiar with the Hodags, who make up so much of this Radicals team. 2 of the top programs in the college game. Graffy, tight window throw. Now Nelson resets. Graffy's so poised. Little give and go into the end zone.
Ooh, a double kick even.
The double kick. Little style from Peter Graffy to finish that off.
Extra
It's
stylish
tied 11-11. 8:55 remaining in the third.
You know, I think Radicals are finding a little more separation to do. I think the team is benefiting from Graffy coming on the field, really running hard, creating some space for his teammates as well.
And here we see Graffy and Shrywise working together.
Even through the double team, Graffy doesn't care, gets it right back. Ooh, and we see the tail end of the double kick as well.
Graffy, one of the 3 all-division players from the all-Midwest team in this game, along with Ryan Osgar and Kevin Pettit-Scantling. And certainly making a claim to be on the all-spike team this season.
Well, it's good to get him on the O-line. It's good to get those holds coming. But we all know defense wins games.
Well, he's out there for that, as well as the return of KPS, who earlier took an injury. Good to see he's still healthy.
Actually looks like Weiland's now on the D-line. Here comes KPS.
KPS healthy enough to get a block.
Comes
His
right back
third
up.
of the game.
His first action back from his injury is getting a D.
So now we'll see if the
Oh,
Madison
wow.
offense can capitalize, but Thomas Coolidge's throw is a bit ambitious as he tries to fire one into the middle of the field.
Both handlers cutting up the line for Coolidge, giving him no option in the backfield. He was forced to try some big swing. Couldn't pull it off.
Back into the vertical stack for Minnesota. We've seen them try both vertical and horizontal stacks as a call is going to send Minnesota backwards. That's a foul. Go back 2 spaces. Here's a floaty inside break. Gets over the defender, and Klein tries to jump it in and succeeds. So Minnesota with a 12-11 lead off the Josh Klein hold. We're going to take a brief break. Welcome back to AUDL Extra, presented by Ultiworld, as we see Josh Klein jumping that last score in for Minnesota.
Nice play to milk in that score. However, lucky that Logan Pruss was just unable to jump high enough to get that D.
So Minnesota holding a 1-goal advantage with 7:40 remaining in the third. Hanging pull, but not great yardage on it.
That's 5 points in this quarter, 5 holds now, Keith.
Both teams really cleaned it up after a sloppy second quarter. Some personnel changes on both sides as Peter Graffey, now holding, has really impacted this Madison offense.
And you can see they're looking for Graffey all the time. Graffey's seen a lot of chances here. The key is if he can use his legs, stay patient.
He is certainly grinding with his legs right now, getting almost every other, although Shrywise looks him off and goes around to Brown. Camp, little throw to space, and Shrywise has the edge and yanks it down, 12-12.
Almost a bit of a hospital pass there, but comes down just fine with it. Riggles was occupying his defender long enough to keep that poach away.
Dr. Patrick Shrywise claiming the hospital pass. Seems appropriate.
Recent PhD, I do believe.
Well,
Don't quote me.
dishing out the pain. As he goes up over the top of the defender, and that's just having the advantage, really. We've talked a lot about that over the course of the game, but the receivers in this game on both sides have done a really good job of maintaining their advantage once they get it, not conceding position, not giving the defender the better line. They've just been able to fight them off on every occasion.
They've stayed aggressive. You know, these are big, strong guys. And they commit to that line, and they go out and get it.
Minnesota reinitiating now.
Again on the line here, but they do break it back to the middle, and again switch well, opening up a lot of space.
Done a nice job all game switching fields. Shown an ability to play both different kinds of offense, although they haven't found a lot of success putting the disc deep. They're not a tall team, pretty undersized, especially against this Madison squad, so maybe that's why the under game has been their weapon of choice.
Oh, it's a nice long swing across.
Lots of time for Jordan to go get it.
Minnesota's patient. A lot of short throws here. Now they take the shot.
And this one knocked away. Thomas Coolidge.
Oh, it's a great D by Coolidge. He knows how to tip that away so the disc keeps floating out of bounds. Oh, maybe that was Kanaki.
So now Madison with the stall count rising.
I think it was Coolidge made that D, but
Coolidge dodging the defense, but his throw nearly gets away.
not the intended receiver, but Seth Meyer comes down with it.
So Madison maintains possession and looking to get the first break of the second half.
Graffy back on the field as well.
Now the throw to the end zone, but only the defense knows it's coming. A bit of a pile-up, but ultimately it's going to be a block.
That looked like a miscommunication, a throw into two defenders. Chance for the break. Goes begging.
Paletto picks up and immediately swings across the field. Now the deep shot looking for Osgar. Osgar gets
great
it.
Catch.
Takes a lot of contact. He's frustrated.
Foul on the reception. Minnesota will take over at the goal line.
And Osgar with the little dish for the goal.
I think Josh Wilson wants that throw back. But Winchell do a great job getting the disc back, holding their point there. No breaks yet in the third quarter here.
All holds both ways as we take another look. A lot of contact after the bid, and nice grab there by Osgar, who's been a bit quiet. The All-AUDL second teamer from last season. And of course, you could probably guess, a Minnesota alum. Helped the team win a national championship. So now Madison still ahead. 4:36 remaining in the third quarter. Excellent pull. Colin Camp underneath. Riggle putting it deep for Camp. Barry and Chase help coming, but Camp can't come down with it. No block.
I think Camp was pleading for perhaps a strip call, but
Barry and Camp still discussing the contact and whether or not it was legal.
refs didn't see it, neither did the defense.
It's going to go down as a turnover.
That's a good play. See if they can capitalize on this break opportunity.
Barry tied for the team lead in blocks for
Got to be close to a stall.
stall count climbing. Barry goes and gets it.
Okay, a lot of patience from the Winchell.
Feldman bobbles, and then his swing throw comes up short. He asks for the foul call and gets it. Feldman imploring the refs.
You hear a lot of boos out there. Feldman is a hodag. He probably does have some fans in the stands. Knows he can be a bit of a rascal at times, but I do think that was a good foul call. Oh, but the disc floats now for his And somehow the receiver gets it with no defensive pressure. That was a chance for the turnover right there, Keith. Radicals did not capitalize.
Lottis looking off a deep option and scooped up away from the turf by Feldman. I think the mark may have gotten a piece of that one from Feldman. Eccles. Forehand force. And a give and go. Beautiful throw. That is a dime there from Christian Johnson. That's a break to give Minnesota the 2-goal lead. We'll take a brief break and be right back. Welcome back to AUDL Extra, presented by Ultiworld. And Minnesota with their first break of the second half after this big no call. What do you think, Nate?
Looks like no strip definitely, but maybe a bit of contact. You know, the throw was underthrown, so Camp may had to slow down and maybe felt some contact from the defender, but no call by the ref, and defender thought it was clean.
End results: a Madison break and a Minnesota break, and a 2-goal lead for the visitors, looking to claim first place in the Midwest. So here's Graffy, who has been really the pulse of this Madison offense in the second half, and tosses it out for KPS for a very quick hold.
That was an important hold, a quick hold. See if the Radicals defense can put some pressure on now. See if Graffy stays in the field.
14-13 after another nice offensive possession led by Peter Graffy.
Great cut by KPS. Showing some anger on the catch and some finesse in the spike. Usually it's the other way around.
KPS is known for the power, but showing off the finesse a little bit. Who doesn't like a big, strong guy with some touch?
Something we all wish we had, I think.
So here's the blade arcing pull. Paletto takes a centering pass, and again the horizontal stack for Madison for Minnesota, mixing it up a little bit on offense.
Ooh, kind of a pick. Ref can see that all day. And
interesting interaction because it did look like a pick, but it also looked like Kanaki took the opportunity to make sure the offense knew he was there, gave a little bit of the shoulder, and I think Wallen's looking around like, hey, he can't do that.
I thought that was going to go the other way.
Wow, and a near interception in the backfield.
And a good switch on the handlers as well.
Well managed by Madison at what could have been a really point-breaking moment.
You know, the key is when you get a defender that does make a bid, you do have to rotate around.
Wallen blading deep shot. Osgar gets the read on it. Easy.
Two Radicals
continue. But there are
collided.
guys down.
Is that Kyle that was also in that collision? Can't see who that was.
Looks like that was Colin Grandin.
Let's see that replay because
Let's take
Here
a
we go.
look at the contact here between KPS.
I couldn't quite see from that angle, but I think one of the Radical defenders, I think it was Colin, maybe came a little bit early. Nowhere near the disc, though. I think that's why it surprised KPS.
So they are going to rule it a goal, I believe. So Klein will get the goal and Osgard the assist, and that'll make it 15-13 Minnesota.
Looks like Radical coach Tim DeBiles asking for that. Probably play should have stopped with the injury.
Yeah, it seemed like they were planning on stopping it, and then they decided no. Maybe waiting to see how hurt the guys were. A bit of an odd moment. That awkward moment when?
You know, it's hard to know exactly how injured a person is, and, you know, going down with a bit of a knock is not a reason to stop the game, but that was a collision. Maybe they thought that was the reason for that. Looks like they're both walking off on their own power, and we'll be just fine to get back in the game later.
DeBile emphatically stating his case to the refs. I don't think he's going to get them to rewind it from here, but he wants to make sure they know his thoughts on the matter. So refs are going to bring it in. Get ready to discuss. And Madison getting ready for another game they have this weekend. They'll be playing against the Chicago Wildfire in a showcase game at the High School National Invite down in Rockford, Illinois. And that tournament's going to bring together many of the best youth teams in the country, including teams from both of the respective cities represented here. You got Madison West, Minnesota South, Eagan, Edina on both boys and girls sides.
It is so exciting to see Ultimate at the high school level, even the junior high level now. It's wonderful to see that. It's going to be a great showcase tomorrow. You know, maybe Madison has kind of one eye on that game tomorrow. Minnesota, though, just have one game this weekend, so they can lay it out all here for the remaining quarter and a half, or quarter and a minute, rather.
And also, both teams, maybe a little chance to do a little recruiting. There'll be some Neuqua Valley there from Illinois to see Chicago. And, you know, I would be very surprised if some players playing at the High School National Invite are not going to be wearing AUDL jerseys in the future.
Oh, I think we're probably pretty sure about that. And that's an exciting thing to think about. Looks like still some conversations down on the field, but looks like they're going to continue on.
So with 59 seconds remaining in the third, Minnesota up 15-13. And we were talking about it at the break, Nate. This game almost turned into an 8-4 Madison lead. And now they're trailing by a pair as we approach the fourth quarter.
You know, that was a big point. And Madison Radicals have been outscored by double, by 2x since then. So they need to be very efficient on offense. They need to have their D really step up.
Well, the answer to being efficient on offense for them has seemed to be give the disc to Peter Graffi as frequently as possible.
A lot of give and goes here, I see, too.
So here's Wiseman going ahead to Graffi. Graffi's just taking command of this offense.
A lot of quick handler movement here, as you can see. There's Graffi open.
Nelson around to Wiseman. Wiseman looks for Graffi. Excellently defended. Well, at least on Graffi. Nobody there defending Shrywise. Easy goal for Madison with just 19 seconds remaining for the Minnesota offense to try and add one.
That was a key score. Just 19 seconds, as you mentioned. Really critical for the Radicals to hold here. Or rather, hold the Winchell from scoring.
And you can see Graffi isolated, trying to make the cuts to get open, but as the double team from Minnesota approaches, Shrywise just sneaks open.
Yeah, it looks like a little handler defense confusion there. Two guys went to Ben Nelson, leaving Shrywise open.
It looks like the Golden State Warriors against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Just somebody cuts wide open for an easy score.
That's right. Well, we got the tall line out now for the Radicals. A little bit of pressure in the backfield, but otherwise
Minnesota unable to utilize their end of quarter offense effectively last time, just a little too patient. And with 9 seconds left and a lot of field to go, it doesn't look like they're going to take their shot. Osgar now with the Hail Mary, a pile up underneath, and oh my, the wind chill come away with it. Colin Berry climbs the ladder and ends the quarter. Minnesota takes a 16-14 lead on Madison with the buzzer-beating sky by Berry. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
I can't reach down.